Who's going to notify you if
these aftermarket parts? There's nobody that notifies you if they've been decertified or if there's a problem with them, and going back to who's saving the money. If you have to pay your full deductible, and they're only allowing this amount of money for aftermarket parts, did you save any money?
Nope, but you sure cut corners on safety. Hello everybody and welcome back to another airing of Grievances. I'm Eric Reamer, this is Robert Grieve, and it is fantastic having you along. If this is your first time here, do us a favor if you would please. Don't forget to click the subscribe button and the notification bell if you like what you see. Also, we always ask if you'd give us the big thumbs up.
Thank you.
That is always, that's how YouTube lets other people know about what we're doing here, and we appreciate your partnership in that. All right. So, Rob, today we're going to... happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday. To all our friends out there that are watching, thank you. Happy Saturday to you.
We do appreciate you all so much. I'm excited to get into this because this is kind of one of those things that goes on behind the scenes in the collision industry that many people are unaware of, but we're going to shed some light.
It's a bigger issue than... You wouldn't imagine how much money is going into this.
Yeah.
To take it from you.
Yeah, exactly. And to take it from you.
Yeah.
So let's set the stage here. You've been on the phone for the last couple of days with a major insurance company.
Yeah. Yep.
Tell us the story.
Well, it's not even really all that big a job, but there's lots of different arguments going on, what they will pay for, what they won't pay for, what's reasonable and customary in the market. The fact that nobody else is following these procedures that the manufacturer lay out for your car means they don't have to pay anybody to do that.
Right.
So whether it's me asking or another really good shop down the street that's saying, hey, manufacturer says you have to do this.
Right.
They're like, well, nobody else is doing it, so
nobody else. Even though we just named two of them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's. But in that conversation, and it's unusual for this company to include aftermarket parts on a vehicle. Normally, they don't do that. But in this particular case, they've decided to put an aftermarket absorber in the vehicle. So, and we're going to throw a picture up here so you have a visual.
Yeah.
You have your front bumper, same with the rear.
Sure.
This is a front bumper, obviously. You have your front bumper. Then you have this black styrofoam piece.
Yes.
That's called an absorber.
Okay.
Because it absorbs energy.
Yep.
And then behind that you have your rebar, which is a really robust piece of engineered metal, whether it be aluminum or steel or high-strength steel or ultra-high-strength steel.
Yeah.
That is what's really meant to start protecting you. The absorber is more of a absorb some energy on a small impact. You bump into something so that it's not catastrophic. If you get in and start squashing the rebar, then you probably airbags might start deploying and all sorts of different stuff. But all that stuff is engineered to work together.
Right.
And
by the manufacturer.
By the manufacturer, the one that made the vehicle, and many times it's under law. So these manufacturers, governed by a lot of different government agencies. NHTSA is one of them. And
that's the National Highway Transportation and Safety Administration.
Right, and they say they want a 5-mile-an-hour bumper.
Yeah.
Well, what makes the 5-mile-an-hour bumper work is this absorber.
Okay.
All right, and so this particular insurance company wants to use an aftermarket absorber. So the question becomes, this is something that's government mandated. how do we know that this absorber made in a completely different country, and it's made to look the same, but is it going to operate the same?
Right.
You know,
By definition, it has to be different,
it has to be different.
right?
It has to be different.
Which is going to usher in another part of our conversation here.
Yeah.
In a moment. So you're asking the question: how do we know that this is going to be safe?
How does anybody know? And it's really the people that are wanting to pay for those, they don't care. You're the one that loses. Because the manufacturer has to go through all this engineering and testing and all this stuff to make sure that it works the way that they're obliged to by entities in the government.
Right.
And then we have people that want to make copycat Rolexes and
Yeah.
fake diamond rings and
Right.
so on and so forth.
No
So
guarantees. No.
it's
no
not the same. It may
quality
look the
assurance,
same.
Right.
It may look the same,
Yeah.
but it's not the same. And the people that are making these parts haven't engineered the vehicle; they're engineering that part.
Right.
And the manufacturer doesn't necessarily engineer each part independently. It's built as a system.
Sure.
So the absorber works with the rebar works with the frame rails, and it's everything is made to function together.
And on top of that, on top of sometimes those pieces, there are things like sensors,
Lots of sensors.
and those sensors fire at a certain
Yep.
velocity or
Yep.
or speed or whatever, and if they're off by 1/100th of a second,
We've already seen what that'll do.
bad things happen.
Yeah. So but again, and to put an aftermarket unknown part right in the middle of all these known good parts
Right.
made by the manufacturer, it doesn't sit well with me, and it's never going to happen here.
Gotcha.
But what they're saving is, I don't know if it's $9 or $12, going with this copycat part
Right.
that may or may not fulfill NHTSA's requirements
Right.
the way the manufacturer had to.
Because they're not accountable to NHTSA.
They're not accountable to anybody. So there's. I have a little press release here, and it's from earlier. It's from last year, but
Yeah.
it's the Car Coalition launches National Rights to Repair campaign, and what this document basically says is it's pulling at your heartstrings
Yeah.
through the whole thing, and I'll read some of it to you. But it's distressing because it's smoke and mirrors.
I'm a professional magician. I do know smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, so don't look over here. Look over here.
Right.
That's all this is. It's dribble to make you think they're doing something good for you.
Yeah.
When you are the last one that's benefiting, everybody else around you is benefiting.
For the record, I'd like you to know that my smoke and mirrors is for entertainment purposes only, and is not in any way, shape, or form designed to deceive you on the level that we're talking
Yeah, magicians are supposed to be entertaining, and it's all fun until you can't find your watch.
about. Check your back pocket.
So, who is this Car Coalition, and what are they trying to do? And by the way, there's in this thing you can sign a letter and send it to Congress to take action. And we've been down this road before. I wrote an open letter to Congress and the Senate.
Yep.
Several years ago on this same thing. I don't know. They're getting snowed also.
Yeah.
They're getting snowed. But now we have this National Car Coalition.
Right.
So let's see who makes up this National Car Coalition.
Yep.
The Car Coalition is a growing group of independent automotive parts and repair companies, associations, and insurers committed to preserving the consumer choice and affordable vehicle repair.
All right. Was choice ever an issue?
No.
I don't think choice was ever an issue.
No.
It's the affordability that they're after,
Right.
because we sell cheap parts.
Yeah, and so
And the insurers buy cheap parts.
the actual name of the bill they're trying to get through is called the SMART Act, Save Money on Auto Repair Transportation Act.
Okay.
So, again, it's smoke and mirrors, and here's where it gets priceless.
Yeah.
At a time when Americans are getting squeezed by rising prices, the SMART Act will empower consumers to choose quality, safe, and affordable aftermarket parts while still respecting the intellectual property rights of the automakers. Well, I don't know how you do those two things at the same time.
I'm not sure either, but let's just go back for a minute and talk about the first: quality, safe, and affordable. Again, I get the affordable because the insurers want to pay less, and the aftermarket parts companies want to provide, properties for less.
Yep.
But quality and safety.
Yeah. Well, let's think about
Where's the accountability?
when many people, when they buy a car, they look at the safety rating. Right? I got a 5-star safety rating, and I got it, for the frontal offset
That
and
leads on
side,
all the commercials.
and that's the way the manufacturer designed the car.
Right.
Now you start adding in parts that were not designed by the manufacturer.
Right.
And when I say designed, it's look, it's weight, it's the type of material.
Especially the type of material.
There's all these things that factor into
The way that it fits.
inertia and energy and all the rest of that.
Yeah.
And
So the first smoke and mirrors is that they want you to believe that it's quality and safe. All right. And we'll throw in affordability so that you buy this concoction.
Yep.
And the second part is that they want to, at the same time, respect the manufacturer's patent.
yeah, the really interesting part of this is parts are taxed.
Yes.
Okay. Well, why would the government want to give this option and receive less tax? Just
That's
saying.
an interesting question.
And so, there is a lot of money and politics getting poured into saving money.
Yeah.
But let's go back to who's saving the money. It is not you.
It's not you.
If it's your own insurance policy,
Right.
okay, then when you have an accident and you go through your insurance company, you have to pay the first X amount of dollars. We call that your deductible.
Deductible, sure.
Okay? And if they're putting aftermarket parts on there to save money, does that save anything on your deductible? No.
It
You
doesn't.
still have to pay your deductible and get cheap stuff
Right.
to repair your vehicle.
What about senior citizens? Do senior citizens still have to pay their deductible?
Yeah.
They do. The only reason I ask is because part of this coalition, this car coalition, is a couple of organizations. I won't name them, but you can find it out if you'd like. That are national brands that are supposed to be advocates for you, the senior community. And
I've been getting a bunch of those emails getting me to sign up.
It's the color of your beard, and I'm catching up to you, but not quite. but that's just the thing that they prey upon the heartstrings of us saying, I'm on a fixed income and I can't afford to pay full price. When in fact, paying full price is probably the closest thing to safety that you're ever going to get to.
Yeah.
And you don't have to pay any different price because you still have to pay the deductible.
Yeah. And then there's other, areas of this, and we spoke last week about the Honda recall with a potential defect in the hood.
Yes.
And whether it's actually a defect or not, they're getting in there and
Making sure they're being proactive.
they're being proactive. And they have to notify every single driver of those vehicles.
That's right. Who's going to notify you if
These
you're...
aftermarket parts, there's nobody that notifies you if they've been decertified or if there's a problem with them, and going back to who's saving the money, if you have to pay your full deductible and they're only allowing this amount of money for aftermarket parts, did you save any money?
Nope. But you sure cut corners on safety.
Yeah,
And quality.
and they'll say that if we had to pay for all those parts, your premiums would go up and they'd be outrageous. That is also a lie. and your premiums go up every year.
They go up every year regardless of
Yep.
whether or not you're saving money.
Even when nobody was driving last year because of the pandemic, somehow the rate still went up.
26.2.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Lots of millions of dollars.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, you know, I just wanted to piggyback on what we were talking about last week, and just tell you that don't allow these parts to go on your car.
Yeah.
You know, I was on a conference call with, a pretty serious national level conference call, and somebody said it's the consumer's choice. And I said, it is the consumer's choice. The problem is the consumer is not in a place to make those choices. Mm-hmm. They don't know the difference one way or another.
Right.
The difference is we're saving money.
Right.
But at what expense?
That's the ultimate smoke and mirrors right there.
Yeah, and then I said, and by the way, if they choose to have their vehicle fixed here, they don't have a choice anymore, because we make it apparent up front we are not putting these vehicles on the car. The parts on the vehicle.
Right.
We're not going to use these aftermarket parts here.
Yeah.
If you want them, there's thousands and thousands of places to go that will put these parts on your car. We are not one of them.
Yeah.
And it's about maintaining the integrity of the design.
Yeah. Which is ultimately the best thing for you.
Yeah. Yeah, and by the way, you think, okay, well, I'm going to just use these aftermarket parts, let it go, and I'll sell it. Well, you could still be on the hook if something goes wrong in the future after you've sold it and somebody else gets hurt in the car.
Yeah.
So that's still not a good idea.
No, it's not.
It's still not a good idea.
Rob, I personally am grateful that Nylund's is here, and that you are in particular advocating on behalf of the consumer. I'm grateful that this conversation is happening now, and we were talking earlier. We wrote an article about this years ago.
Yep.
And
I'm passionate about
this.
The
same thing continues to go on, but your consistency has been legendary. And so, thank you for this,
Yep.
for covering this. I will put a link to this so you can see this document
Yep.
for yourself. See down at the bottom of the document who's involved. You might be surprised at who's sponsoring this.
Yeah.
And just ask yourself why, and follow the money.
Yeah, it's all about following the money, and it's not to benefit you.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of money. There's a lot of money to be saved in the big picture.
Sure.
From the insurer side of the world.
Yeah.
And the manufacturing side of the world. But these people, when I say these people, the manufacturers have poured ridiculous amounts of money into all the engineering that is required.
Right.
For somebody to say, you know what, we want to make it cheaper, and we'll just make something that looks or feels or,
Seems.
With no requirements.
And no accountability.
Yeah, and no accountability.
Yeah. That's really the thing. And
So,
Rob,
there it is.
cheers to you, my friend.
Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday to you. Have a great week.